online studios in beautiful Bothell, Washington. Exclusively at WrestlingObserver.com. You're listening to The Bryan and Vinny Show with your hosts, Brian Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
Bryan and Vinny, along with Granny and Craig and sometimes other people. Wrestling, tell me who and what's happening. Hanging between the business and storylines. Sometimes they're riffing as we're watching along. Did you see him killing that bloke on the outside? Tell them that they're paid by a con, and they'll say, oh, Bryan and Vinny, along with Granny and Craig and sometimes other people. Bryan and Vinny, along with Granny and Craig and sometimes other people. It's Bryan Alvarez and Big Vinny V, and we hope that you enjoy the show.
It's the Bryan Vinny Show. It's February 13, 2025. Figure4online.com/WrestlingObserver.com. And we got, as always, AW Dynamite, NXT to talk about. The last NXT before Vengeance Day. And Vengeance Day is Saturday. We'll be reviewing it for the Sunday show. We'll do Vengeance and Collision this week. And Lance Storm will join us for the Vengeance recap.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
that is the plan for this coming Sunday. So be excited, everybody. 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern on Sunday. 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern. Golly, old habits die
I can do
hard.
9.
Well, you're not gonna.
Okay.
All right.
Throwing it out there.
Yes. So let's get going as always, and we got a lot to talk about.
We watched AEW Dynamite February 12th, 2025. I thought this was a pretty awesome show, actually. It's interesting because both of these shows are go-home shows. And I thought Dynamite did a great job.
Well, I thought this was a good show, maybe a really good show. It was not as good as last week's Dynamite and Collision, but it was, I would say, 3 good shows in a row.
All right.
But I thought last week's Dynamite was better. I thought Collision was way better.
Well, yes.
Collision was awesome.
Yeah.
And there were some things on this show that were weird.
It was not a perfect show.
But the big problem with NXT was it was a show where when it was over, I had less interest in Vengeance Day.
Oh, very good.
That's bad.
That's bad.
That's bad.
Yeah. So here on Dynamite, Hurt Syndicate's warming up. Gun Club is warming up. They have a tag team title match tonight. And
So I should mention, by the way, since you rushed through that, they didn't have any interviews. It was just quick shot at someone, quick shot at someone, quick shot at someone.
Yeah.
Because this show was taped on Tuesday.
As we've discussed.
And they went 18 minutes over. They taped 2 hours and 18 minutes of television. And if you saw the final product, it was 2 hours and 2 minutes. So they cut 16 minutes off of this show. And it was a lot of video packages. I think they cut like 2 recaps and a video package or something like that. And also you could see like they were cutting all over the place.
A lot of people got cut off mid-sentence in their promos.
There were mid-sentence cut off. There were people teleporting to the ring.
Yeah.
But they did not cut out much from that MJF segment. That still went a long, long time.
It was a great match.
But I'll tell you what was good about it when we get to it.
Speaking of MJF, he's tweeting for his warm-up. Dustin Rhodes is warming up. And finally, the last shot to open the show, Megan Bayne is zhuzhing her headdress.
Yeah.
Big pyro, kick things off. And then, very briefly, we see Max Caster alone in the ring, and I thought, Max Caster is opening Dynamite? Why?
It was his open challenge.
Fortunately, he was there to be killed by Hangman. He runs his mouth a little bit. He claims to have run Anthony Bowens and Billy Gunn out of the company, which is news to me. Will anyone answer my open challenge? And the answer is yes, and it's Hangman, and Hangman destroys him. Caster gets 1 Hurricane Rana, celebrates too much, gets killed to death, a couple lariats, a big buckshot, and the crowd just goes hog wild. Hog wild for Hangman Page beating Max Caster.
Hey, listen, I enjoyed this as much as anybody, okay? But man, Golly, this Max Caster.
If you're trying to convince me that I should be excited for Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, you failing?
Well, I mean, not only that, but I mean, do you remember how hot this act was?
Year and a half
the
ago?
Acclaimed?
Oh, yeah.
And they won the tag team titles, and they were so over. Yep. And then the beginning of the end was they took the tag titles off them too quickly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, golly. This act, when you look at where it was and where it is now.
And how quickly they got there.
Bowens and Daddy Ass they vanished.
Yeah.
Max Caster is an absolute, total, complete geek. And really, we already have that character. It's Ricochet. And Ricochet at least is a geek that wins.
Ricochet is a geek personality-wise.
Yes.
He is still a dangerous threat when the bell rings.
Yeah.
Caster's a geek before the match, during the match, and after.
I mean, it's a total prelim gimmick. He calls himself the best wrestler alive.
Yes.
He's got his trademark.
That he carries around with him like a geek.
To prove he's the best wrestler, because he's got it trademarked, this saying. He gets just jobbed out right and left like a total dork. I'm still, like, it's entertaining me in the sense that I like to see him get his ass kicked, and they're short, and it got Hangman over.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also look at it from the perspective of, brother, you got a career. You're young. What are we doing here, dude? You're killing your career.
Well, that's quite possibly true. But Hangman, of course, comes out of this hotter, and obviously, even at this point, even more obvious later, he's being set up for MJF, and so that makes sense. A Swerve Ricochet recap video with Ricochet referencing the Philadelphia Eagles and appearing here in a midnight green suit. Great touch. So what's interesting here is Swerve starts to talk about how it's an eye for an eye when Prince Nana cuts him off. Why do you always focus on personal issues? Why are you not focusing on Jon Moxley? And Swerve explains, I tried to let things go with Hangman. I lost everything. I won't let it happen again. But that is the... For a moment, there was dissension between Nana and Swerve, which seems like a horrible idea to me, but there was. Undisputed Kingdom versus the Death Riders for the Trios titles. Excellent match. I like this gimmick for the Undisputed Kingdom where Roddy and Kyle come out by themselves, and then Adam Cole comes out. It's like the opening act and then the headliners at a concert. Works the exact same way. People are even more excited when Adam comes out. Had a great match. Roddy gets a hot tag. Always great. Wipes out all three of them. There's further tags. Then Roddy is shoved from the top rope. They get heat on him. And it was a great heat segment because you got Pac and Claudio. Two guys who can do all sorts of cool shit. But they are a heel tag team. And they are just doing face locks and choke hold and stomping because they're not doing the cool shit. They're supposed to get booed. Have a second commercial break. Cole gets a hot tag. Breaks into a six-way. It's totally the Claudio show. He's awesome, doing all kinds of great stuff. There's all kinds of triple teams. Kyle gets the ankle lock on Wheeler Yuta. And if this is Kurt Angle putting the ankle lock at Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, it would not be any hotter than this crowd was here. And they keep making saves. And it seems like it's going to be an awesome finish. But somewhere in the melee, Wheeler hits a low blow, cradles Kyle, and wins. Boo! That was the first time the Trios title were cool in at least 6 months. Now that's going back on the shelf. But the match was awesome.
Well, I thought the match was great as well. I had a criticism, and that was there's like a happy medium, okay? WWE has this rule where you're only allowed one save, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's a secret rule, which has always been so weird to me. If you do 2 saves in one tag match, the ref calls for the bell.
I have seen it happen. And
okay.
And it's bizarre what it does.
And it is bizarre, okay? They allow 1 save, all right? That's probably a little restrictive, okay? But then we had this match where I'm pretty sure Claudio made a save at least 6 times, maybe 7. It was like every time the Undisputed hit a move, Claudio was there to break it up again. And by about the 5th time, I was like, okay, how many times is Claudio going to break up this? And it was overkill there by the end. I like a happy medium. I don't think you only get 1, okay? It's a tag match. It's long. It's for the Trios titles. You can do a couple. But once you get to like 6 or 7 and the guy's still breaking up, I kind of felt like, all right. I did think that the Undisputed era should have won. I think that this show has had unrepentant heat for a long time now. Yeah. And this would have been a nice day to give the babyfaces a big win. And Adam Cole, the people see him as a huge star. And this is, I mean, they're a great working 6-person team.
Yeah.
The comebacks were great. They were going crazy for Roddy's comeback. And in the end, it was heat again, a low blow finish. And the thing that was so weird to me is that, okay, fine. All right, you beat the Undisputed Era. Well, who's next for a shot of these trios titles? So they beat him down again. And who should make the save but Daniel Garcia and 2.0? Shouldn't it be like the other way around? Like Death Riders beat Daniel Garcia and 2.0 and then Undisputed make the save to set up the next match?
Yeah.
I don't feel like Daniel Garcia and 2.0 is a bigger match than Undisputed versus the Death Riders.
No, I agree with that. And
But
also,
the match was great.
And also, they're still, even though they made the save here, they're still building the idea that all three guys in the Undisputed Kingdom want Garcia's TNT title, which is fine. You can do that. But man, wouldn't they be hotter challengers if each one of them had a belt too?
Well, I do feel that the trios titles, I mean, I don't see Daniel Garcia's belt being a bigger deal than the trios titles. I mean, they're all basically at the same level. And maybe, I mean, arguably you could say if they defended them more, the trios titles would be more valuable because they're on real big stars. And Daniel Garcia's like they're trying, but, you know, he's still kind of where he's always been.
Yeah.
But the match was great. The crowd was awesome. Great crowd again. This is a third straight show with a great crowd. They should never leave Texas.
That's true.
This was very good.
Marina Shafir and John Moxley arrive. Adam Copeland sneak attacks them with a chair. And if you actually watch the show, there was zero way where John Moxley was going where he could not have seen Adam Copeland coming. There was 2 or 3 attacks like this, and Marina hit Willow Nightingale the same way later. They need to do a better job of having sneak attacks actually be attacks from behind and whatnot. But anyway, they steal the briefcase, Copeland and Jay White do, and make off with it. The briefcase with the magic belt inside. They start running down the Grand Slam card. Yes?
Just the whole belt storyline.
It's. I'm waiting for the reveal where somebody needs to open it, and we just see, like in Pulp Fiction, we just see the light in their face. We don't actually see what's inside.
Now they've done that with The Undertaker. Somebody needs to open the briefcase. Max Caster needs to get a hold of the briefcase, open it, and a boxing glove punches him in the face. He takes a bump.
You could do that. You could do Raiders where ghosts fly out and eat everybody.
My actual point to this is I'm kind of on John Moxley's side in the sense that is it that important that you see the championship belt?
Well,
is it really that important? There is a champion. His name is John Moxley. He wrestles and doesn't lose. I mean, is it that big a deal that you don't see the actual belt?
It's like the forbidden fruit. They've made it important by not letting you see it.
Yeah, it's a weird psychology here. People are legitimately mad that they can't look at the belt. And he does these promos. He's like, who gives a shit? It's a belt. I'm the champion. You want to look at the champ? Look at me.
Now, I'm assuming it's going to be revealed he's done something horrible to violate this thing. Smash it or...
Well, it can't be more horrible than what Copeland did at the end of the show, as we'll get to, which was weird.
Yeah. So they run down the Grand Slam card for Saturday, and I have to say, this is the best job this company has done promoting a big show in a long, long time, in that even before it starts, if I asked you to name the 4 or 5 biggest matches in the show, you would, off the top of your head, probably get most of them without a hesitation. Because they set up a card a month ago and have spent weeks then mostly dedicated to emphasizing and building each of these matches. So congrats to them for that. But you had the Brisbane Brawl with the Death Riders against Copeland and Jay White. The Dream Team of Ospreay and Omega versus the Don Callis family. Mercedes Moné versus Harley Cameron. Okada versus Buddy Matthews. Mariah May versus Toni Storm. That's a good card. That's a great card. And they've done a fantastic job of, like I say, without the advertisement, if you watch the show regularly, you would probably know what was going to be on this big Australia show. Renee interviews MJF, who is facing Dustin Rhodes in his home state tonight. MJF says Texas is not a real state. Dustin isn't a real man. Hangman interrupts. Just walks in and says, "You're done. Leave." Of course, MJF does not do this. He insults Hangman, makes fun of booze, of course. It's always on the table for Max. Says, whatever this is, whatever you're trying to do, it's not really you. You don't have the stomach for it. You lost your friends and your family for nothing. I'm going to beat Dustin Rhodes, then accomplish what you have failed to do and become a 2-time AEW World Champion. And he walks away, and Hangman is left with nothing to say. He's gotten to.
This was a great little segment because MJF's first line, "Do you have a crush on me or something?" Jack Daniels, I didn't know they had a cologne. It was such a horrible line. And Hangman, he just called him out. That's the best you got after 5 years. And then MJF gets serious. And everything that he said, this is building to the Hangman big babyface turn, obviously.
Yeah.
And, the only thing that makes me sad is I like this Hangman character. I like this crazy motherfucker. I would be fine if he was a crazy motherfucker who was a babyface. I don't know if I want him going back to this, the emotional...
Anxious millennial cowboy.
Yeah, I mean, that was fine for the time, but dude, this guy was doing nothing for a long time, all right? He was just kind of coasting along as the Hangman or whatever. And, man, they gave him this new character, and, dude, he got hot. This guy's supposed to be a heel. Everybody loves this Hangman character. So everything that MJF said, when I heard it, it's man, the idea is to, get rid of this character, this angry, wild-eyed cowboy. I think it's a bad idea. I think he needs to continue to be an angry, wild-eyed cowboy who is a babyface. So I hope they don't drop this character.
He can be crazy and beat up bad guys instead of beating up good guys.
By the way, Jason is so angry about this championship argument. Yes, Brian, Jesus, he wrote in all caps. And so I said, Jason, why? Why is the actual physical belt so important to you? And he says, the belt is the prize the wrestlers shed so much blood and pain for. It would be like telling the Super Bowl champion, sorry, you get no ring or trophy, but you're the champs. Okay, listen, I don't watch football, but if I'm on the Super Bowl winning team and I don't get a trophy for it, but I'm the winner of the Super Bowl, I'm fine with that. I won the fucking Super Bowl. The belt's not actually made of gold. It's made of some metal with a micron of gold plating on it on a pleather belt. That portion of it is whatever. You're the champion. They could give you a belt. They could give you a trophy. All of that is just a symbol. But you're the champion. So that's the important thing. I don't understand why the belt, the actual looking at the belt, people don't fight for the belt. They fight to be the champion. And then they're given the belt. If it's a winged eagle, maybe you are fighting for the belt. But in general, people win the belt all the time, and what happens during the celebration? They're given a different belt. So they didn't fight for that belt. They got another belt. It's just a belt, dude.
The Lombardi Trophy is a big, huge deal. The problem is now.
But if you won, what is a Lombardi Trophy?
That's what you get when you win the Super Bowl.
Okay, well, if you won the Super Bowl, Vinny, and it was okay, you're the champion. Yeah. We ain't going to give you the trophy. We're putting it in a museum because we don't want it to get ruined. But, you're the champion. Are you going to be I shouldn't have fucking played this year? What was the point?
Well, I've always said it's more important, the paychecks are more important than the championships.
Yes.
That's how much money you make.
Exactly.
But the issue is, the problem with his analogy is, John Moxley didn't win the belt and then have it taken away. He won the belt and took it away from everyone else. He can look at it whenever he wants.
Yeah, he's got it.
Yes. He's denying the fans and the other challengers. But there's a lot of great... there's the photo, I'm assuming anyone who cares has seen this, of Jalen Hurts in the locker room or somewhere backstage, but he's just sitting down in his gear, smoking a cigar, staring longingly at the Lombardi Trophy he has just won. It's an amazing photograph. So, these things do matter. The symbols matter. The trophies, the trinkets, it's an importance is imbued upon them. It's not necessarily inherent, but these do matter. It's one of those things okay, he's going to hide the belt. He won't tell us why. We'll find out why eventually. It's eventually now. There needs to be a payoff to this, or at least a hint.
Well, we got one at the end of the show.
Kinda.
Fucking...
We found out his briefcase is bulletproof. Anyway, Samoa Joe and Hook and Katsuyori Shibata versus John Cruz and Aaron Solo and Rosario Grillo. This is very fun because the stars jump the geeks at the bell and destroy them, which is not out of the ordinary. It's a squash match, but what's fun about this is for most of the match, they did not let the jobbers tag in one at a time. They took turns beating up and torturing Rosario Grillo. He was in the ring, he could not escape, and they just came in one at a time and destroyed him. Eventually, John Cruz came in with Samoa Joe. I was praying they would do the walkaway spot again, but they didn't. He just gets his offense no-sold, and Joe hits the muscle buster and pins him.
I did laugh when Excalibur goes, John Cruz, longtime opponent of Samoa Joe, even if Joe is unaware of that.
I missed that.
Because John Cruz, don't want to break kayfabe here, but he is Serpentico.
He's pulled some double duty.
Who has been killed by Joe many times.
Well, there's that idea, too, but more the idea that, because Joe has had at least one match against John Cruz as well. It's where, Samoa Joe does the walkaway spot, the guy does a dive, and Joe casually walks away. He's done it 1,000 times. But Cruz did the greatest job selling this of anyone ever, as he watches Joe walk away in disappointment and then crashes on his face. But either way, the point works, because then Joe's killed so many people, he can't keep track of them all. He doesn't remember all their names and faces. Anyway, Joe cuts a promo. He and his crew are now called the Ops.
Yeah.
Operations? Opportunists? I don't know. Says Christian Cage is too much of a chicken-ass coward to show up
Okay,
tonight.
so if you watch this during this moment here, okay, it's a shot from the hard cam of Samoa Joe. And it's not like real close-up on his face, so you can see all the fans behind him. So Samoa Joe says, Christian, you're a chicken-ass coward. And behind Samoa Joe, there is a fan who is just sitting there watching the show. He's having a good time. He hears the word chicken-ass coward. And the moment those words come out of Samoa Joe's mouth, he is caught completely off guard. It processes in his brain. He throws his head back and goes, ha! Ha! Chicken ass! At the top of his lungs. You can see him mouth it out. And then he turns and he starts going, chicken ass! And he gets a chicken ass chant. It's just one guy.
Yeah.
Go back and watch it. You've never seen somebody. He didn't know it was coming, but when he heard it, he lost it.
Sometimes the dumbest shit gets over.
Oh, yeah.
And even Joe's looking around like, really? Chicken ass? You're chanting chicken ass. All right.
Yes.
So he challenges Patriarchy versus the Ops for next week, and this is one of those promos where he got cut off mid-sentence. Renee interviews Chris Jericho and Brian Keith.
Have I ever mentioned how awesome Renee is?
You have, but it bears repeating.
She's the greatest.
Yeah.
She's trolling him. Did you pay the $200,000?
Yeah, you doubled the bounty for Brian Keith to take out Bandito. He lost. Is it any consolation you get to keep the $200,000? And Jericho sneers at her. He's not being happy, hi guys, learning tree. He's pissed off now. He would have paid double, triple that to get rid of Bandito. But it's a teachable moment for the Bad Apple. Watch as I learn and collect the bounty from Bandito. And he turns to the camera. Bandito, meet me in the ring now. I challenge you to a showdown. Renee is interviewing Willow, and here's another one where it's supposed to be a sneak attack, but Marina just walks up and kicks her in the gut. Just blatantly. And Mox grabs the mic, says, Adam Copeland, you're completely pathetic. You're a dead man walking. And that was that. So Jericho comes out for a showdown. He comes out with his cowboy hat, and he's in the ring. And Bandito gets his whole entrance, and he got his cowboy hat, and they're in the ring. And they're going to stare down dead center of the ring. We drop the lights. There's a spotlight on the two of them. The bell tolls, and they turn and pace away from each other. And the crowd's counting along with each step. Unfortunately, it's a wrestling ring. It's not an open field, so they can only take like 5 steps instead of 10 paces. But the bell tolls again, and they remove their hats, and they're about to charge, but it's a trap! And the Brian Keith attacks Bandito, and he and Jericho attack.
He tripped him, and then they jumped him.
Yep. The Outrunners make the save. Then Big Bill shows up with the wanted poster. He kicks all their asses. He's going for the choke slam, but Hobbs makes the save. The crowd chanting, meat, meat, meat. And Bandito scores a kick on Big Bill. Hobbs is a spine buster. Babyfaces stand tall. A little weird that the Babyfaces won 4-on-3 here, but otherwise simple and straightforward and effective.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It felt a little bit rushed because they edited some stuff out. I mean, you could see Big Bill walk in the aisle, and then they very quickly cut to the ring, and by the time they cut back, he was in the ring, so he'd rapidly teleported. But I thought it was a good, simple segment. It sets up this is one of the problems. This is like a fun thing, but it's setting up a match for Ring of Honor television, which virtually nobody watches. If this would have been an angle to set up a match on Dynamite next week or Collision, Like, that'd have been great, but it looked like it was an angle. In fact, I know it was because they taped it, or they announced it for the show.
No.
This is
I was going to question that, but I guess they did that. All right. Never mind.
This is a Ring of Honor match for the Grand Slam show.
Well, they're trying.
They are.
I mean, you're going to do a show, may as well promote it once in a while. So Copeland and Jay White do a promo on the D-Riders, as White calls them. Copeland mentioned he's carried a briefcase before in his career. But if I've got this, maybe your sycophants won't listen to you anymore. If you want this back, meet us in the ring at the end of the night. Renee interviews Dustin Rhodes. This is a very good promo. But if you're cutting things from the show anyway, it didn't really serve a purpose. The match is next anyway. We already tuned in for this. We're already excited. But great promo. He brought the devil. He'll kick MJF's ass. And then we get MJF versus Dustin Rhodes. An excellent wrestling match. An excellent wrestling match. MJF did an absolute all-timer of a sunset flip block. He's a foot shorter than Dustin. I don't know how much lighter, but the giant sunset flips him, and MJF plays one-man gang, wibbling and wobbling, and won't go down, and transitions to the armbar, and they go from there. Max gets a chair, goes to Pillmanize the arm. This is not a DQ, which is dumb, but it had a point. The ref takes the chair away and spends, 7 or 8 minutes getting rid of this chair, which lets Dustin trip MJF. MJF manages to bump himself into Shattered Dreams position, which is very impressive to do, actually. And Dustin does a double check to make sure the ref's not there, and he drags out the whole thing, and he does the Shattered Dreams kick in the nuts. Place is going crazy. He hits a spinning suplex, and he gets a 2 count, and MJF kicks out, and this crowd is furious. They were so outraged that this man kicked out of a wrestling move. Max comes back, gets his own spinning suplex, the final reckoning, I guess they call it. He gets assault of the earth. Dustin's fighting that. MJF transitions to a crossface. Dustin goes out. Ref calls for the bell. Great stuff. Love this match.
Yeah, it was. My only issue is, Dustin's like a double champion, and he just got beat. I would have preferred a little more of a heel finish. If he had no belts, like, who cares? But he's supposed to be like a big time. He's a Ring of Honor tag team and trios champion.
Yeah.
And he just got beaten clean in the middle with a hold. And I thought maybe Jarrett was going to interfere, but it looks like this whole MJF Jarrett thing, I don't know, man.
It's dead now?
That's what it seems like to me. I thought they would at least do something with it, but maybe not. It looks like they're moving right on to
Hangman.
MJF and Hangman.
Yeah.
So, but the match itself was great. Like, this is the kind of match that's right up MJF's alley. Dustin's great. Crowd was fucking awesome because they hated MJF and they loved Dustin. Although there was a moment in the middle of the match where we actually, in fucking Texas, got a dueling chant. Let's go, Dustin, MJF. We had a dueling chant. Half the people supporting MJF over Dustin Rhodes in Texas. That was totally fucking bizarre. But a great match.
So MJF is attacking more after the bell when Hangman comes out, and they had an awesome and very long pull-apart. And they start brawling through the crowd. They go up to a balcony, and Max is trying to throw him off a balcony or some kind of thing, and security saves everyone's life. I was hoping this would be a tease to do a scaffold match. Probably won't be. Fans are chanting, "Let them fight," and they're finally separated, and Hangman's taken to the back. MJF is returning to the ring. Along the way, he asks for a fan's beer, and when the fan passes in the beer, MJF dumps it on him because he's a dick. He declares himself ready to fight, but your boy sucks. He's afraid of me. He's a gutless coward. He's a loser like every single one of you. So Hangman charges, and the place goes crazy again. The bell is ringing off the hook, if you will, and it keeps going and going. I thought this was outstanding. I love the match. I love the post-match. I thought the whole thing was great.
You know, it was all great. And I was reviewing the show with Dave last night, and I noted that this entire thing, if you count the pre-match promo, the match, the post-match, the continued post-match, and then the recap of everything after the commercial break, this entire segment went like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And last night, I was, I won't lie, I was a little irritated it went so long. I've had a change of heart today.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why, okay? So, I think the first thing is I inherently hate anything that is commercial-free, okay? I hate it. Now, That's just me. If you love commercial-free stuff, that's fine. But I was really thinking, like, why am I so irritated by this? Because it's good. But it turns out that Wednesday nights Wednesday night's the worst because the show it just goes forever. I don't go to bed till like 2:30 in the morning. I wake up at the same time every day. I'm exhausted, and I start watching the shows, and I know how long it's going to take me to watch them. So when I start a show, I know, okay, I'm going to start it now. I'm going to be done at midnight. I'm going to call Dave, okay? Well, then all of a sudden you find out there's a 20-minute portion of the show where there are no commercials to skip through. And so my 12 o'clock is now 12:15. And then you call Dave. He's not ready for a half hour. So you know what I'm saying? So I was already like, God damn it. Like, fuck. I just extra 15 minutes added on because there's no commercials here. And then, I'm kind of thinking like, and you know what it really was? It was the match was great. The post-match brawl with Hangman and MJF was great. They had the pull apart. They all go diving at each other or whatever. They get pulled apart. It seems like it's all done. I'm like, okay, great. And then MJF gets in the ring, starts talking. I'm like, brother, it's been a long time now, and there still hasn't been a commercial. And so now, he cuts a promo on Hangman, and the idea is, well, Hangman's getting dragged out of the building, so he's getting heel heat. Well, then this fucking guy comes back, and they do the whole fucking brawl again. And so now I'm like, God damn it, how long is this fucking segment? So at the time, I'm like, I'm all mad. But I thought about it today, and here's the thing. This was the best thing on the show.
Yeah.
And honestly, MJF and the Hangman feels like the hottest feud in AEW at this exact moment. Because it feels hotter than Moxley and Cope. It feels hotter than, what are the other hot segments? I mean, we got the show coming up.
Mariah and Tony.
It feels hotter than Mariah and Tony. I mean, really, this brawl and everything surrounding this and the Hangman and MJF, this felt like the hottest program in the company. And so at the end of the day, if you do a great angle about the hottest feud in the company, then that's fine if it's great. I think that the thing is, MJF, his segments in general often go a really, really long time. And I do think that it would be better if they don't all go long. You know what it reminds me of? When Raw used to do those 25-minute opening promos. Yeah. You remember that?
Oh, I do.
And it was like a thing where every Raw opening promo had to be 25 minutes. It didn't matter if it needed 25 minutes or not. Sometimes they do an opening segment that was 25 minutes, and it was fucking great. Okay? And then sometimes they do one, and it's like, this is a 7-minute segment. But because it's opening Raw, it's got to be 25 minutes. So they stretch it out, and they do this and that. And it's like, it was like a thing. It had to be long. It doesn't have to be long. So, if you look back at some of the things MJF has done recently, some of these MJF Jarrett segments, they did not need to be as long as they were. And there have been other segments he's done like that. So I think that it would be better if, how long does it need to be, Max? If it needs to be 30 minutes like this one, because you had a match and a brawl and another brawl because it's the hot, great. But not all of them. Some of them, we could shave some time off. Other stuff on the show, give it some priority. You know what I'm saying? But this one, at the end of the day, the more I thought about it, it was like this was one that should have been this long.
So we're approximately 90 minutes in the show, give or take a bit. And here is where they air the final hype video for Grand Slam, which is strange because you would think this would close the show, but I guess they wanted to make sure everyone was tuning in. So they hyped down all the matches. It shortened to the point. It's like a 2-minute video, 15 seconds per match or whatever that is, and it was awesome. It's great stuff. I don't know why I didn't close the show. Then they do a recap of the whole brawl with Hangman and MJF.
Yes. And
Hangman takes out a security guard with the buckshot. This is not something like they're held back and in fury. Hangman's throwing punches and gets one or throws an elbow or whatever. He has to deliberately have this man in the middle of the ring, go to the apron, grab the ropes, do a flip, and clothesline this guy. This is a deliberate, planned act.
Yes.
His punishment is that he gets booked to have a face-to-face with MJF next week.
Yeah, that's where I really laughed. I was like, I just watched a 30-minute segment, half of which was an insane wild brawl involving 2 men, 85 security guys, and there were casualties. And this Tony Khan character watched this absolute fucking pandalarium, and he immediately announces they'll be face-to-face next week. That should end up turning out nice and calm.
They'll just trade words.
I don't think there will be any issues.
Have a verbal debate.
I'm sure they will sit down and politely discuss their problems.
Air their grievances.
The two of them, yes. Yes. This Tony Khan character is a maniac.
He is out of his goddamn mind.
Times. He's a fucking crazy person.
Megan Bain versus Maya World. I believe her was the young lady's name.
Yes.
We see Megan.
Jeff Jarrett's theme.
My God, it is.
Yeah.
I thought of that. Recap of Megan laying out Thunder Rosa on Collision. Does a squash here. Has a few scary suplexes, which is hard to do, by the way, when someone's much shorter than you. And Maya World is much shorter than Megan Bain. Big flying lariat and F5, and Megan wins. Squashes for the win. I'm a big fan of squashes in wrestling.
Hey, it was a fine little squash, but you know what? Megan Bain, they're doing the exact same thing they did with Mariah May when she debuted. Remember she debuted and they like pushed her like a star and they kept talking about stardom ad nauseum with this idea that we all know who she is. She's from Stardom. She's a big, but it took a while for people to like figure out this whole Mariah May thing. It's exactly the same with Megan Bain. They presume that everybody knows who she is and we're all going to be into her.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, if you watch this show in a vacuum, you have no idea anything about this woman. Nothing. You know nothing about her. She's never done a promo. She's never shown any emotion because she does the stoic gimmick.
Yeah.
And she just like squashes people. She is Camille right now.
With better headgear.
Better, a little bit better in the ring, I think. We don't even know based on what we've seen because it's just like squashes and standing there. But that didn't work out well for Camille. No. So I think it's time. We need a video package. We need an interview. We need a personality profile. We need her to show some emotion, something. Because so far, this is... I'm trying to think about who else you could compare her to. Just like a big, strong person. But that's it. Nothing more.
She's being presented like very early Goldberg, except, as you noted, Goldberg was not stoic.
No.
He was a spitting lunatic.
Yeah, and his matches were not like, I'm going to hit you with a few moves. It was, I murdered you.
Yes, you'll probably
won't see that jobber ever again.
Yes. And not as effective, I have to say. So, as Megan is leaving, Chris Statlander comes out for her next, and the sadist in me was hoping she would also be facing Maya World. It would scrape her off the mat and hit her own big giant moves, but it was Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford. And God bless these women. They've been on the shows, but it's not like they've been pushed as top names. These people were so into this match of two mid-card women. And first half of the match, honestly, was nothing special. It picked up a lot after the break. Tons of big moves, tons of counters, going back and forth the whole way. Super physical, very intense sprint. And finally, Statlander dodges a cartwheel elbow, hits a lariat, gets her cradle tombstone, and wins. Very good match.
Yes.
And then afterwards, Megan Bain comes out to confront Statlander again. Penelope Ford jumps her from behind, and this lets Bain hit Stat with the F5 on the floor. We get the start of a custom rap video with Mercedes Muppet. And it's Harley Cameron rapping
fucking awesome
as herself and also rapping as the Muppet. I believe they did put the whole thing online, which I need to seek out because it was a great song, but Harley pulls the cord on her own promo. And suddenly she's just sitting down in a dark room by herself, no Muppet, no silliness. She says it's true, not that long ago she didn't know how to wrestle at all, but there was a point where she didn't know how to rap or sing or play guitar or speak Chinese either, and she learned all of those very quickly. So thank you, Mercedes, for calling me a loser. You've motivated me to work harder and learn quickly. I don't want to ride the Monet train, I want to drive it. You will feel the wrath. And she is still the most entertaining person in wrestling.
I thought this promo was awesome. I liked the beginning of it, showing all of her talents. I liked the second part where she got serious.
It's not. She can do comedy, but this is not a comedy act.
She explained why, even though she was new, she could win. All of the talented things she was able to do that at one point she couldn't do, but now she could because she learned quick. And guys, we've been watching this for a long time. How long have we been watching AEW?
5.5 years now.
5.5 years. So, I want to ask you all a question. I want you to think about this with your brain and not your heart, okay? For all of you that want Harley Cameron to win the title from Mercedes Moné this coming Saturday night. Without thinking with your heart, think with your brain. In 5.5 years, how many times has Tony made a change like that?
Very rarely.
To the best of my knowledge, the answer is never.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I certainly would not get your hopes up for that happening.
I guess we'll see.
But it should.
It would be a great moment.
I mean, it would be awesome.
Yeah. And you could do the whole, Mercedes obviously want a rematch. You can build to that. It doesn't mean, Mercedes is the end of the road. All sorts of things they could do. We shall see.
Shadow says, didn't he do that for Private Party? No, Private Party's been around for 5 years. And Private Party, the Young Bucks were going to lose the tag team titles, one way or the other. It was either going to be to Private Party or any of a number of other teams. And there were like 3 teams that were in line to beat the Young Bucks for the tag titles. And the only change he made was after he saw the Private Party match with the Young Bucks on the pay-per-view, he decided, okay, it'll be Private Party instead of this team, or this team. I do not think that Mercedes has been champion as long as she has and won 4 belts, and his long-term plan was she was going to lose the title in Australia. So this is a very, very different situation than what happened with Private Party.
Gun Club versus Hurt Syndicate. It was Texas. The Guns had their fans, but this Hurt Syndicate is just beloved. Can't tell you how much these fans love these dudes. And they dominate right away. Manhandling, quick commercial break. Have the heat on Austin, who really is excellent, by the way. Austin Gunn's a very good pro wrestler. And there's all sorts of teases and cutoffs, and Colton finally gets a hot tag. The Guns make a comeback. Things get a little clunky for a while, but Shelton super kicks Austin's head off, and everyone's happy again. And there's suplexes and spine busters and corner knees and spears, and the Hurt Syndicate have, in fact, hurt people, as promised. This is excellent. This show rules.
Yeah, this was a great match. I'll say it again because I like being that broken record. Turn the fucking Hurt Syndicate babyface.
It is funny you should mention that.
The fans are chanting MVP. They're singing, "We hurt people." They're totally into them. They're like, what do we do? They need to be baby faces. Well. It's an ongoing. It's not just them. It's like this has happened many times in AEW history, where a person is miscast. They are not being booed as a heel. They are not being cheered as a babyface. It's obvious that they should be something else. But this is exactly the thing I was talking about with Harley. This is what Tony's idea is right now. They are heels. I don't know why, but that's what they are. The Hurt Business should be babyfaces. Hangman needs to turn babyface. It was very obvious for a long time that Tony Storm needed to turn babyface. It was very obvious that Mercedes Moné should be a heel. If people are miscast, switch them. Someone else can switch that people don't care as much about.
It is a thing, too, where any act that is booked like the Hurt Syndicate, where they come out looking cool, do a bunch of cool shit, win 80% of the match, and then win, AEW has never had a babyface booked that way. They've had a number of heels booked that way, so the fans cheer for them. But they haven't had a superhero to cheer for. Hobbs was there for a minute a week or two ago, and he's not like dead in the water or anything, but they need someone who comes out, looks cool, does a bunch of cool shit, and wins every single time, and the fans are supposed to cheer for them.
And the other thing, too, is it's not like this is a promotion that is babyface heavy.
No.
If anything, they got no baby faces, and so fucking the fans are dying to cheer for somebody. Well, they found the Hurt Syndicate. Turn them.
Yeah.
It was the same thing actually with Swerve for a long time. Remember, people were just going nuts about, they were doing the Swerve's house chants, and he was total babyface, but they still booked him as a heel for like months past when he should have been a babyface. This is a regular thing.
Well, on that note, who should come out to challenge the Hurt Syndicate but the Murder Machines?
Yes.
The Don Callis family, a heel tag team. A solid, undisputed, no shades of gray heel tag team. We are getting that match. So there you go.
Yes.
Maybe this is the turn. They just have a heel team challenge them, and they'll fight heel teams now. Mariah May.
You finally have seen this?
People have called me out sometimes for burying her. But yeah, she comes out, and her whole point is, first, Tony should have died in August, but she never could write an ending, so she's back. Okay, fine. So you're irritated you have to fight her again. Then she doesn't even talk about Tony as much as saying how terrible it would be if she lost and wasn't there anymore, and how bad the show would suck without her. Burying everything.
Not just burying the opponent.
The show.
The entire
the company.
division. I do every match better. I do every move better. I do every promo better. I do every mind game better. I do all of it better. If I'm gone, this place is sunk. I'm like, can you put one person over? Like, it's okay to say, I'm going to beat your ass, Tony. Yeah. You know, you could say, all right, you know, I thought I was going to have an easy time with whatever the fuck the name was, Tony Time. Timeless Tony, tougher hill to climb. But still, you can't beat me. Whatever, something. Put her over somehow. It's just a constant, unending burial of absolutely everybody. In every promo she cuts, she never puts anybody over in any way.
Yeah. And she's not doing it in a playful, joking manner. She's dead serious when she says, this company sucks except for me. Then she says Tony isn't real because she's still not gotten to by this whole Timeless Tony thing. To her, it's all a big joke. And she says, I really do love you, but this is going to be a mercy killing. There you go.
The problem is when the promo was over, it's not like the right kind of heat where it's like, oh man, this is going to be a fun match. I can't wait to see Mariah get hurt. It's like, the mercy killing needs to be like this feud so like we can move on to something else. I mean, God, I need a Mariah break. I mean, somebody help her with these promos. These are not constructive promos. They're destructive promos. And she even mentioned one promo. She says, I was told I'm not supposed to bury the division. Yeah. And it was like, she said it, and then, but she just kept doing it afterwards. I mean, I don't know, man.
So, time for the main event angle. Jay White and Adam Copeland come out. It's very sad that Adam Copeland can't use his old name here because Switchblade and Edge would be a great name for a team. But Cope puts down the briefcase, pulls out another case, pulls out Spike, which I had forgotten about, but it's this board with nails in it he talked about when he was feuding with Malachi Black last year. Mox, if you don't come right now, I'm going to smash this briefcase and take out the championship. And the fans are chanting,
There's got to be a better way to open a briefcase.
Almost all of them, as it turns out.
Yes.
So Mox comes out, says, I'm going to show you how much I care. You want a title match? Fine. At Revolution, I'm going to break Adam Copeland's neck. Now, quick aside here. This is the third program right here where a challenger has issued a challenge to the champion. The champion has said no, and the challenger has gotten that match just by being irritating.
Yes.
That's what Harley Cameron did to get a title shot. That's what Buddy Matthews did to get a title shot. And here it is. That's what Adam Copeland is doing to get a title shot. Gets repetitive. But anyway, Cope says, that's cool. I'm still going to smash this briefcase.
Yes.
And he picks up Spike and he smashes the briefcase, which gets dented. Doesn't open.
I just laughed because I brought up that this made no sense on the show last night. And my God, I had so many people today so angry that I said that. They're like, he's just trying to open the briefcase. I'm like, listen, I got kids, okay? They get Christmas presents. You know how they don't open the Christmas? They don't go in the kitchen and get a knife and start madly stabbing the Christmas presents to open it. And not only that, he actually says these words. I am going to show the fans what I really think of this belt. And then he started smashing it with a board covered in nails. Now, find anyone you know, your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, mom, dad, kids, whoever. Show them this segment where Adam Copeland screams, I am going to show the fans what I think of this belt. And then he raises a board covered in nails above his head, and he begins smashing the briefcase like Donkey Kong smashes barrels. Ask them, what does this guy think of the belt?
It's Mario, but that's okay.
Every single one of them. I think Donkey Kong maybe won.
Donkey Kong threw the barrels.
Sure.
Mario gets the hammer.
But, if you got that hammer.
Yeah.
But anyway, every single one of them will tell you, well, he hates the belt. He wants to destroy the belt.
Yes.
They're not going to tell you, oh, he's trying to get it out of the briefcase so that he can show it to the fans and celebrate. So this was very weird, And at the end of the day, it's like Moxley's the one who loves the belt. He gave the guy a championship match just to get his belt back. It means something to him, even though it's in a fucking briefcase. So it was a little weird. But hey, we got a match for Revolution.
I did like the brawl. The brawl breaks out afterwards. But these, they're anti-heroes, really. But they're at least heroes. They cleaned house. They retrieved Spike. They made their exit when they wanted to. The Death Riders left picking themselves up out of the dirt. They got the belt back in the melee, but that's that. And Jay White vows to put them in the ground.
What I did love is you guys got to watch the last minute of this show to see what absolute professionals these guys are, because there's a board covered with nails in the ring. Now, granted, these aren't sharp. It's a gimmicked board.
Sure.
But still, there are nails sticking out of this
did
board
that briefcase.
all over the place.
This is the weapon.
You can fucking do damage with this, even if they're gimmicked nails.
Yeah.
Even if you, pound the nails in so the flat part is sticking out all over, it's still, you don't want to get hit with that fucking
No,
thing.
it hurt real bad.
So, but they have all these spots that involve a guy holding onto this board and the board going flying. And if you watch these guys, it's fucking magic. They're doing all these crazy fucking spots. There's even one spot where Mox is going to use the thing, but he gets speared in mid-move by Copeland, and the fucking board has to go flying. And, I think someone else is down in the ring. There's, a body in the ring. And perfect. I mean, the board goes flying. It doesn't touch Copeland. Doesn't touch the guy in the ring. Doesn't touch anybody. It's these guys were so good at doing these final spots with a weapon, and nobody got hurt. So I thought they were very good.
I thought that was a tremendous pro wrestling show.
I thought it was very good.
Thoroughly enjoyed it and did a great job as a go-home show for the big thing on Saturday. We'll see how it does.
There's problems here and there, but,
Wasn't perfect.
There are a lot more of those problems on NXT this week. Tell you that much.
We watched WWE NXT February 11th, 2025. We see Tony D and the family arriving and Ridge Holland arriving. They have a cage match tonight. There's the hype for that. Bayley versus Cora Jade is your opener. Bayley will be participating in the NBA Celebrity Game this weekend. That feels like a big deal, actually. But Julia's watching the match backstage. Lots of action. The crowd loves Bayley. Everything's going along fine. Roxanne then comes out doing the old school Bayley entrance. They're playing the old music. She's got the gear on. She's got the hair tied. Unfortunately, the Bayley buddies were destroyed. The wacky waving arm inflatable tube men, they're gone. Bayley is enraged by this. I guess if someone broke into my house and stole my old gear, I might get a little hot. But she attacks Roxanne on the floor. Cora then jumps her from behind, hits a paradigm shift on the floor, throws her back in the ring, hits one in the ring and wins. Two things. First of all, I saw this described online as a clean win. That's a sad, sad state of affairs when you are distracted and leave the ring and are attacked from behind, and that counts as being clean. Second, even more dumb, the ref counts 3. Cora Jade has won. Roxanne looks surprised and disappointed. What did she think was going to happen? What was her goal?
I don't know, but she really fucked up, turns out.
So Ava walks up and whispers something to Julia. Then Cora and Roxanne are bickering in the ring. Ava comes out and says, all of this will get settled on Saturday. I thought, all of what? What is there to settle? You already have a match booked. I didn't know what the controversy was, but she announces the 3-way will now be a 4-way. The scourge of pro wrestling in 2025. A 4-way at Vengeance Day on Saturday. And Bayley suplexes Roxanne to end up standing tall when all is said and done.
I guess I've already talked about it on Observer Live, so I'm in the hole. Cora Jade being added to this match drastically hurt my excitement for this show.
Yeah.
She sucked in this match, and she's in there with Bayley, dude. I mean, you know how hard it is to not have a good match with Bayley?
Yeah.
It's practically fucking impossible. And she didn't look good in this match. She hasn't looked good since she came back. I thought it was ring rust or just needs some more time. It's been months. She's just, her ring work is it's one thing to stay the same, but her ring work has gotten much worse. Her promos are terrible. And now she is added to a match that was Bayley, Roxanne, and Julia. Dude, that match could be fucking great, okay? Now we've added Cora Jade. And it's a 4-way. So inherently the match will not be as good. And It's one of many things on this show where, like, when the show is over, it's like, okay, well, all right, whatever. My excitement for this show has just fallen.
Sol Ruka is with her tag team partner Zarya in the locker room, trying to convince her to come work out on the beach. Nikita Lyons steps in and says, "Man, imagine me working out on the beach." Zarya says, and I quote, "Nah, I'm good." So Nikita tries to start shit between the two of them, says one of them is holding the other back, and I think challenged Zarya to a match later tonight.
You know what's funny is I like Nikita's character, but I don't know, man. The acting in this segment was absolutely bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is, dude. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, I like Nikita's character, but she is so, like, it's so over the top and unbelievable and not realistic in any way. But I think the thing is, I feel like it could be, but there's like something missing in the acting department. It was just like
there sure is.
But I think what it is it's like so over the top. You know what I'm saying? It's like if Steve Austin was doing like a parody of himself, just like everything totally over the top. Yeah. It's like dial it down a little. Yeah. Keep the character, but like dial it down a bit. You don't need to enunciate so much. You don't need to be so over the top. Just like say the words, but like you would say them as a normal human.
Yes.
Not a cartoon character.
They're playing themselves. The volume turned up to 25 instead of 10.
Yes.
Clips from the Legends and Future Great Show, whatever it's called. And Booker T is telling the kid, "You're doing great, but you need to stay in control." And he puts his hands on his shoulder and says, "It's like ballet." And I laughed and laughed and laughed because how many times have you been watching wrestling, somebody gets a busted nose or a split lip or a black eye, and they have to say, "Well, it's not ballet." Turns out it is.
It's supposed to be, but everyone fucks it up.
Not to mention, they say it's not ballet, like it's insulting ballet, and put most pro wrestlers through ballet training for a while, and they never make it. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal on the body. Rich Holland's warming up backstage. Oba Femi comes out for a promo. He knows this three-way at Vengeance Day will be a handicap match, but eventually Waller and Theory will have to fight each other. So Waller and Theory come out and putting themselves over. Theory puts Waller over as a star, but Waller is putting Theory over as a sidekick. Because I don't know if you knew this, Brian, but they're teasing dissension.
And they're actually hard teasing it.
Yeah.
Like before, they were making fun of the fact that they were always teasing dissension, but now they actually are.
Yeah, they're hot at each other. Waller is sick of hearing about Theory's victory over John Cena. Theory says, "You never won a singles title. Waller says, "I saved your career by winning that ladder match. You were still down on the ground." And they finally agree to take Oba out and settle things amongst themselves. And they turn and look at Oba, and Oba is so not gotten to. He's so great. And they tease a fight between themselves. It's a ruse to get Oba to drop his guard. They lay him out. You mentioned the magic with the spike at the end of the Dynamite show. I love Austin Theory getting the giant Oba Femi up on his shoulders, and then with Oba up on his shoulders, kicking the microphone out of the way so no one bumped on it.
Yes.
And they lay Oba out. Simple stuff works.
It did, but it's Oba Femi against a mid-card main roster tag team, but for the world title. And I don't care.
No.
I can't. And they did nothing to make me care. I mean, if anything, it feels like they're selling the match on you're finally going to get to see these two guys break up.
Basically.
It's not like they're selling it out. You might actually see Grayson Waller win the fucking title.
Yeah,
or Austin Theory. It's like no one thinks that Oba's going to lose. I don't know, man. This segment did not increase my interest in the pay-per-view.
This still feels, at best, like a regular NXT TV show main event, not a Saturday afternoon special main event.
Then we had one of the funniest fucking segments I've ever seen. They got this fella, Dr. David Cohen, which may actually be a real doctor. He was so wooden. And they gave him a script probably like 4 weeks ago. He memorized it the best he could so that he could deliver his scripted lines. And this is what he said. He's allegedly Javon's doctor. He says, I'm still laughing thinking about this. I've recapped this like 3 times, and it gets funnier every time. He said, following reconstructive surgery of Javon Evans' jaw and, quote, a few weeks break, Javon's jaw is healing on schedule. We then, he said, quote, worked to expedite the process.
Yeah. You can work to make your bones heal faster. You didn't know that?
He is now cleared to compete. However, the doctor says, even though he's cleared to compete, I'm concerned because if something goes wrong and he gets hit in that jaw, he might be out 6 months or maybe forever.
Eternity. He could never wrestle again.
The very feared career-ending jaw injury, which has ended the careers of literally no one ever. So, who the fuck is this doctor? You expedited the process of bone healing? What fucking illegal shit did you do there, brother? And then, hey, he's cleared, but he shouldn't do anything because he could get his career ended.
Yes, this is the key. It gets funnier.
Why the fuck did you clear the guy then?
It gets funnier when he's done.
God.
Because you go to Javon, who's standing there with Ava. Javon says, I'm cleared. I want to wrestle. Ava says, no, it's too dangerous. Do you know what cleared means?
That's what he said. He goes, no, we had an agreement. I get cleared, I wrestle.
Yes.
So she clearly knew this was going to happen because she produces. I need you to sign this, Javon. What's this, he says? It's a hold harmless. We are not responsible for what happens to you in that ring. I want you to think about it, she says. He's already signed. I thought about it. And the way he goes. I thought Javon was great in this segment.
Yeah.
I didn't even mind Ava. Hey, this actually was a really good show for Ava.
I guess.
She, in fact, had a segment on this show that I would go as far as to say was her greatest moment in NXT history. And this is one of those angles that it's absolutely fucking preposterous. It makes no sense whatsoever. But ultimately, we're watching professional wrestling. And they got a story here. And, you know, as preposterous as it is, it's a very simple story. This guy's risking his career to get revenge on the guy who broke his jaw, which was then healed by a fucking quack doctor using illegal medicine.
This was a quack doctor.
Yes.
This doc should be under lock.
He should be. He should be.
You did miss one thing. There was a Eddie Thorpe hype video. He's mad at Trick because Trick keeps getting opportunity after opportunity. He gets disrespected by Ava and Sean and everyone else. So he's challenging Trick to a strap match. Hank and Tank versus Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights versus Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura.
I want you to say that again, Vinny, as fast as you can.
I will do my best. Hank and Tank versus Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights versus Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura.
Okay, that was the match.
There was a lot of chaos.
Dude, this was everything that people who don't watch Ospreay and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks tell us that they do, even though they don't. These guys did. It was 1 million moves at 1,000,000 miles an hour, completely and totally choreographed from start to finish.
Oh, yeah.
Zero room to breathe. It was one continuous 7-minute tone. I fucking started and gave up trying to write what the fuck was going on. Yeah. I don't remember anything that happened in this match. Not one single thing do I remember.
I did write down here some very complicated three-way things. I'm totally lost. No idea how they are not.
No.
So, all right, that's all true. But if you just want to see some cool shit, there was a lot of cool shit in this match. Tank Ledger's going to be great. He's huge. He can move. He has max charisma. And Tavion's suplexing. Poor Hank's job is to be like the world's largest crash test dummy. Because he's a big man, but basically he was a big man who was there to make the other guy look impressive by throwing him around. And Tavion suplexes him through the sky. And Hank goes flying off the top. He did get a wheelbarrow into an execution, which looked like a giant pile of no fun. But Briggs turns him inside out with a lariat. And Inamura goes to the top rope and does the greatest top rope splash I've ever seen in my life. He gets up there, and both feet are on the top rope, and both hands on the top rope, just squatting down up there for a bit. And he just starts to bounce. Bounce, bounce, bounce. He's building momentum, literally. After like 7
You
bounces.
got way more out of this match than I did.
That's clear. After 7 bounces, he lets go. He jumps a mile into the air, and it's not quite supposed to say frog splash, and then he doesn't like to bring his elbows and knees together, but he throws his hands way back over his head and arches his back and like touches his hands to his feet as he's in the air, and it goes wham onto it was Hank, and pins him, and that was great. So it is, in fact, Inamura and Briggs winning. Fraxium's there. Congratulate these guys on the win. We're very impressed. We'll see you at Vengeance Day. So there you go. There's your tag title match. The family have a meeting. Stax apologizes for the way he's been behaving. Tony tells him to relax, and that's that. JDC versus Lexus King for the Heritage Cup. So they've done away with the rules.
Fuck.
And to make it clear, they have a screen with the new rules, which are, and I quote, no rounds, 1 fall to a finish, winner takes the cup. So like every other match in the show then.
Okay, this is one of the stupidest long-term angles in the history of NXT, this Heritage Cup. Fuck, dude. Lexus wants the Heritage Cup. He claims he's a nice guy. He fucking has a match. He wins the cup via disqualification. Ava is an absolute stickler for the rules. She goes into the dusty archives, cleans off the book, reads the whole fucking thing, can't find anything about DQs.
It's a gray area.
Yeah, claims it's a gray area. A week after telling another wrestler that the referee's decision is final, she changes the fucking referee's decision because she can't find the rule about disqualifications, gives the goddamn title back to the other guy. Lexus then wins it again, and then after winning it the second time, he decides, I'm just going to change all the fucking rules. It's now just a normal match. Ava has jack shit to say about this. Miss, I'm a stickler for the rules. It's a gray area whether... Fuck! You know what's a gray area? Whether you can throw all the fucking rules out. It's not a gray area. You can't do that. She don't care. So now, what used to be like a fun match, because there's like all sorts of things you can do with rounds.
It made it different.
Yeah, it was something different.
It was something that stand out, something different on the show.
Yep, they end up, now it's just another fucking trophy, belt. It's exactly like with Moxley. It's like, who gives a fuck what the person has? It's another championship being defended, another champion in a normal fucking match. And like Dave's theory is, well, you know, they were sick of these matches where, you know, they like a round took place during the commercial break. That can't possibly be why. Because fuck, how they did it for years. They just now figured out that a round during a commercial break sucked. You know what you can do if you don't like a round during a commercial break? Don't do fucking commercials during this segment. Have it be a commercial-free segment. I hate those, but hey, if that's your problem, do that. Or, you know, funny they're owned by TKO. UFC has rounds. Do you ever see a fucking UFC round during a commercial? No. They do a commercial during the break, between rounds. Oh, well, it has to be a minute. The commercial's 4 minutes. No, the break doesn't have to be a minute. It's fucking fake. You go to the round ends, you go to a 4-minute commercial, you come back for the next round. It's not fucking hard, but for whatever reason, they had to get rid of all these rules that made it different, and now it's just any other fucking match. And Ava doesn't give a fuck. So, stupid.
So on top of all that, it's 2 heels. The loudest chants were for TNA, if anything. No one really cared. And then the whole gimmick has been, Lexus King says, I am my father's son, I'll do whatever it takes to win. Because they're here and wins clean. JDC hits the leg drop, Lexus kicks out, JDC goes up again, Lexus grabs him, hits the draping coronation for the win. As a match, I thought it was good. But, yes, the whole thing was quite strange.
You know, I don't watch TNA, Vinny, you do.
Yeah.
Oh, this JDC was way more fucking exciting when he was Fandango.
Yeah.
He is just a fellow.
Yeah.
This is JDC. He does no special entrance, no special music, doesn't dance. His promos are like a normal guy with a normal voice now. He doesn't even do the weird, creepy Fandango voice,
Nope.
which added to that character.
Just Johnny Curtis.
He's just a guy. And I was always a huge fan of Fandango. I thought he was underutilized. But, yeah.
Yeah.
And last week, like, they had his music and his name on the screen and everything. And then he comes out for the match this week, and it's like the JDC music.
The system music.
The JDC
It's
name.
very strange to hear on this show.
Yep,
but,
just walks to the ring.
Yeah.
Has a match.
Has a match. It was good.
Loses.
Yeah.
That was it.
Mechanically very good. That's that. Ava is talking to Bailey.
This was the best thing she's ever done.
I'm not even sure what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Are you kidding me? So Ava's backstage talking to Bailey, and discussing this now 4-way match, and Roxanne comes in and she's doing his gimmick, and she's just fucking ranting and raving, and Ava's just like, she's just totally zoning out. She's heard this 1,000 times, and Bailey makes some comment about how
this is the best you've ever looked, you ugly idiot.
she says something. No, she said something like, "Is she always like this?" And Ava goes like, "Every week." And then, like, something happened, and like, one of them shoved the other, and then the other shoved, and they kind of had this little 5-year-old fight. And Ava, she shushes them. They all calm down. I was fucking dying during this segment. This was the best understated comedy of Ava's entire career. And then it fell off a fucking cliff.
Remember when Cora was gone for a long time and came back and said, man, her promos have gotten a lot better. Well, I don't know what happened, but she's regressed. This is the same horrible delivery as she had when she got hurt. I'm sorry. What was that? Yeah, you're right. And it's going to be me. I mean, you said it yourself. It's finally my turn to win a championship. And I'll make sure you're right there to see it. The worst.
You were close. Mm-hmm. But I rewound it about 9 times, much to my own dismay, because I wanted to get exactly where she put the periods. So this is exactly what she said.
All right.
I'm sorry. What was that? Roxanne says there's going to be a new champion Saturday. Cora says, yeah, you're right. And it's going to be me. I mean, you said it yourself. It's finally my turn to win a championship. And I'll make sure you're right there to see it. I asked on Observer Live, can anyone send me a Cora Jade interview? Like an actual out of character, whatever her real name is, Brianna something. Can you send me an interview with her so I can see if she really talks like this? Because if she does, I can't be that mad. That's just how she talks, okay? Well, someone sent me an interview out of character, and she does not talk like this at all. She talked like a normal human being. She put the punctuation in the right place. She put the period at the end of the sentence where it should be. And I had a lot of people message me and say, what this is, I guess they were involved in theater or whatever. This is a person who is given a script, and they have a terrible time memorizing their material. And it comes out like this. And, I mean, it is god-awful, bottom of the barrel. And I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I just want to say one thing. For years, everybody complained about scripted promos in WWE, okay? And they wanted everything to be just an outline, all right? Do you guys remember when Rowdy Roddy Piper went to TNA in like 2005 or 2006 or whatever? Do you remember this?
I think I know where you're going, yeah.
Okay, this is Rowdy Roddy Piper, allegedly one of the great promos of all time. He goes to TNA in like 2004, 2005, 2006, whatever, and his fucking promos were absolutely, positively fucking terrible, okay? He then went back to WWE, which did scripted promos, and his promos were miles better, all right? Now, you take a guy like Stone Cold Steve Austin. He doesn't need a fucking scripted promo, okay? However, you take a guy like The Rock. The Rock hired a guy to be his personal fucking script writer, okay? He was a scripted promo guy. He had someone write the promos for him. The great Rock promos you remember were all scripted, okay? The point of all of this is everybody is different, okay? Everybody is different. There is no one size fits all. And from watching Cora Jade, throw these fucking scripts out. She can't do it, okay? Let her try bullet points. Just say, this is the gist of it. Like, go out there and just do it. If it somehow is worse, which I can't believe it is, then we can work on scripted promos again or whatever. But the scripted promos aren't working. They're terrible. Absolutely terrible. So everybody, especially like on the main roster, oh, Seth, you can do an unscripted promo? Punk, go for it. Like, here's the bullet point. Go out there and go. Like, a lot of the top guys do that. Some people just can't do that, dude. Some people, you got to write a promo for them, and they're better that way. This is a perfect example of it ain't working. Like, let her try something else, because it's terrible.
Well, I'm afraid I have some bad news for you, because Cora Jade was on commentary on TNA this week for the Knockouts Battle Royal, and clearly she had no script.
Oh, no.
And she just had nothing to say and nothing to make it exciting. Just, I don't like this person. I don't like Ash by Elegance. I don't like Jazz. I don't like...
Why do they put people in these situations?
I'm not afraid of the numbers. The numbers don't bother me. Nothing bothers me. And Matthew Raybolt and Tom Hannafin were breaking their backs trying to drag some kind of personality out of her, and there was no personality to be dragged out. So I don't know what the solution is for Cora Jade.
Well, see, here's the thing, because I don't want to be too hard on Cora. Everyone learns, okay? Just like Harley, we all started somewhere, okay?
Sure.
But I've said this 1,000 times, all right? Everybody has a personality, okay? Everyone on this whole fucking planet. Everybody has a personality. Your job as a promoter, as a booker, whatever, is to find a way to get someone's personality out. You cannot convince me that the real Cora Jade does not have a personality. She does. Gets drunk at a party, goes and hangs out with her grandma, whatever. She's got a personality. Everybody does. Children do. Everybody. But you got to find a way to get it out of them. If she sucked on commentary, she was put in a position she was uncomfortable with. She didn't know what she was doing. Never done it before. On live TV, whatever, live to tape, sunk, okay? Don't put him in that position. You're putting her in a position with these promos where it's like, God fucking damn it. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Like, give her some help. It's developmental, or it's supposed to. It used to be. It's not now, but anyway. This was bad.
This is quite bad, and we are running short on time here. We got a lot to go. Fatal Influence is talking about who has friends that might challenge them. Kalani Jordan wants another rematch against Fallon. Shouldn't you worry more about Jada Parker? They say Jada Parker arrives, but she also wants a title shot. Then Ashanti arrives and says Carmen has beaten you. She's beaten you. She deserves a title shot. I can't wait for another four-way. That's what we're getting.
Hey, I don't want to beat a dead horse, and I know you said we're running a long time, so I'll make it quick. Somebody noted that, you know who Cora Jade's dating?
I do not.
Braun Breaker.
All right.
Okay. Braun Breaker is a Steiner. Do you guys remember Scott Steiner before he became Big Papa Pump?
I do.
Okay. You would say this man has absolutely, positively zero charisma. None. Okay? And in fact, when we rewatched Nitro,
even when he first started,
when he first got that gimmick, he was fucking terrible. Absolutely god-awful terrible.
That's true.
But you know what? I don't know what happened. I don't know who, what, when, where, why, or how. But all of a sudden, it clicked. And Big Papa Pump, like the last few years of WCW, he was a standout personality-wise. Because at the end of the day, everybody has a personality. You just have to figure out how to get it out of them. Brad Armstrong, for fuck's sake. All people ever said was, this is the funniest motherfucker. He is just like, you could not drag it out of him as a performer. You just got to find a way. Anyway.
And we know she can do it because she was doing it like a month or two ago.
It was better.
It's much better. Nikita Lyons versus Zarya. Hell of a little sprint. Nikita, the largest woman in the company, bumping all over the place, doing Hurricane Ranas. a camel clutch with a full splits, which is much better than pinning somebody with the splits, actually. But Zarya powers out of that. Nikita misses a Vader bomb, another giant bump, and Zarya has a spear and an F5 and wins.
This match was only like 4 minutes, but I was very impressed with both of them, particularly Nikita. Like, she works so hard. And if she doesn't get hurt, and she's been hurt like multiple times, like if her body holds up, like she's really got something special. And you could see it in this match against Zarya. I thought this was really good.
NXT Spotlight on Ethan Page. Javon's medically cleared. You have a long future ahead of you, but you're willing to risk it all to get your hands on me. You got $1 million smile and a 10-cent brain. I plan to end your career. And he's doing the, not stoic, but the cold-hearted assassin gimmick. I put more personality into this than he did, but that's what he's supposed to be doing right now. Sarah interviews Trick, who accepts the strap match. Ethan, Eddie, you have to look at me face-to-face, eye-to-eye, man-to-man, and I'm going to whip your ass. Great. Simple and effective. We then have a surprise entrance by the superstar formerly known as Ricky Starks.
Yes.
He calls himself the absolute superstar of the future. Everyone goes crazy. He's in the crowd. Everyone's going nuts for this. The announcer's like, we all know who this is. They never used his name here.
They never said his name one time.
They never used his name on social media.
No.
I think we're going to get absolute Osiris Griffin.
Hey, we could. But you know what's funny is like Fandango. He was whoever, Johnny Curtis this week. But like when he first debuted, they played the Fandango music and they put his Fandango name on, and they called him Fandango, even though he was going to use his TNA name. It's like they've done this before. Like the first time that Kenta showed up, it said Kenta on the screen.
That's true.
And then they changed his name to whatever it was going to be.
Yeah.
But they were doing everything in their power to not say Ricky Starks, and the fans are chanting for Ricky Starks. And I was like, just say the guy's name. Fuck, who cares? You can change it. Doesn't matter, but say it now. But I will say, everybody in the building recognized him.
Yep. And
he came out, and he was just in street clothes. He had sunglasses, could have been any fan. But, man, the moment that guy stepped on screen, they all knew who it was, and they went nuts.
He looked great, and for his short little promo here, he delivered it great. And he came off like a big deal. This felt very, very important. Julia and Stephanie wish each other luck and play a future challenge down the line. Cale Dixon says hello to Andre Chase. They're pre-gaming. You got to meet Uriah Connors, he says. And Uriah says, Andre Chase, you look like you know how to have fun. Andre says, I can't do it on a school night. And they say, but Chase, he was dead. And he slumps and he says, yeah, I guess old habits die hard. And he goes away to not have fun. And this ended, and like it just hit me. They cut Duke Hudson and kept Andre Chase.
Well, he's the heart and soul of this place.
Anyway.
They shouldn't have cut...
They should not have.
No. But very quickly, they have that thing at the end of every show now with this new faction that's going to debut at Vengeance Day.
Yeah.
And, some fan like froze it and like lightened it or whatever and like listed these 4 names. Yeah. I guess it could be those guys. Probably is. Who knows? But when this segment was over... I was like, who's going to show up at the end of Vengeance Day is the new Chase U. Because when they asked him if he would party, and he immediately said, I can't do it on a school night. And then they go, it's not a school night. I thought there was no school. And he goes, yeah, old habits. I was like, you're lying. It is a school night. There's a new Chase U that's been in session. And they're going to debut.
A secret college?
There's a secret college.
Interesting.
Yep. And the heel Chase U is going to show up at the end of Vengeance Day, and they're going to fuck everybody up.
So they're running down the Vengeance Day card, and there's 2 things I must point out here. First of all, I don't know who did the graphics for these matches. It may have been AI. What the hell is up with Ethan Page's Chewbacca legs? They're so hairy. So weird. Second of all, he mentions... Vic, as he ran down the matches, Saturday is about vengeance, but it's also about revenge. And I was so certain those are the same thing that I went to dictionary.com, which says vengeance is violent revenge, and revenge is to take vengeance for. He just comes off sometimes as not very bright. He just does.
Did you see that SmackDown where they were in Cleveland and out comes what's his face?
Miz.
No, it was you know.
I have no
Logan
idea.
Paul.
Okay.
Logan Paul comes out and everyone's booing him. And Michael Cole goes, God, look at this guy. Because he's from Cleveland. What a horrible person, he says. And then he goes, you ever noticed everyone from Cleveland is a horrible person?
Wow.
He goes, we got Logan Paul. We got Johnny Gargano. Miz. Vic Joseph. I fucking died. I was like,
All right, that's funny.
What a dick. You mentioned all these assholes and then threw in Vic Joseph. God. It was such like Michael Cole 95% of the time. Even today, I'm like, you tried too hard, brother. Come on. But man, that line was fucking awesome. I turned babyface on him for a while.
While we're on the subject, there's a clip I saw. I think it was Chris Van Vliet interviewing John Morrison. And Chris asks, can anyone take a Canadian destroyer? And Morrison doesn't want to pull the curtain back too much. But he says, not everyone can take that move. And Chris is surprised. He thought it was jumping, falling back. Name someone who can't take that move. Morrison, immediately, The Miz.
Chris Van Vliet asked the wrong question. The question should be, could anyone deliver a destroyer? Because, yes, anyone could deliver a destroyer.
Pretty much, yes.
Anybody.
You just get back.
Taking it, you actually have to do a backflip. You have to be able to do a backflip and land on your head, but not actually hit your head.
Yes.
But taking it, all you have to do is stand there.
All you do is get
and
back
jump,
dropped.
and the other guy does the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ridge Holland versus Tony D'Angelo inside a steel cage, which, as Vic Joseph notes, it's not just going to bruise your body, it's going to bruise your ego. I've had my body bruised. I've had my ego bruised. It's basically what I do for a living. I'd much rather have my ego bruised than my body bruised.
Yeah.
So they crash in the cage for a while.
That's why I help you.
Thank you. They're trading strikes. I think Tony wanted to do the Will Ospreay float over to counter a lariat, but it very much did not work. So Tony gets a spear for 2. Izzy Dame, who is supposed to be in his corner, then does the most comedic reveal of a crowbar you ever saw in your life. Like, she opens her jacket, and it's not like it's down on her hip. It's like sticking out in front of her.
Yes.
How no one saw this before, I don't know. She tries to throw it into the cage, but Stax takes it away, but then he throws it in himself. Ridge gets it. Ridge beats Tony D with the crowbar. Tony still kicks out. He goes to the crowbar, goes to the eyes, uses the crowbar. Tony wins. He is still the North American champion. This was mostly good. There was some wonkiness.
I thought the funniest part about this is when Izzy gets the crowbar out. She's going to slide it into the ring, but Stax grabs it. And then Stax slides into the ring, and Izzy Dame loudly screams, I was just doing that!
That's exactly what happened.
So the match is over, and I just thought, when they first brought Ridge Holland back to NXT, nobody cared. It was a main roster guy. Main roster guys almost always get over when they go to NXT. Nobody cared about Ridge Holland. And they tried, and they tried, and they tried, and he just did not get over until finally they got him in Chase U, and the people loved Chase U, and they finally managed to get him over as one of the saviors of Chase U. And then he turned heel, and he was the most over heel in the entire company. They fucking hated him. They gave him the Dominic Guerrero treatment. And I was like, God damn, I can't believe it. They did it. They got this fucking guy over. And then they absolutely, completely, utterly dropped the ball.
He's a guy.
And he lost, and he lost, and he lost. And he came out here, and yes, the fans saw him as just a guy. And I thought, you know what? I think he might actually win the title here. I thought Izzy was going to help him win. And man, when he got beaten on a week when Cedric Alexander got cut, they cut a half dozen people off the main roster in developmental, and he's got a main roster contract in developmental, I believe. Man, he lost this match, and I thought, oh my God, don't answer your phone, dude. I mean, maybe he'll stick around and everything, but when he lost this match, I was like, that's not good. And then they're celebrating. He just disappears.
He brawls to the back with Stax and Luca.
Yep.
He no-sells the crowbar that just beat him and pinned him. Jumps up. Vic says, how did Ridge Holland get to his feet? Booker says, I have no idea. They all brawl to the back and disappear.
So Rizzo, Tony, and Izzy are in the ring together.
Yes.
And Izzy suddenly grabs that crowbar and she whacks Tony in the knee with it. And he goes down and she has turned heel. Spears' crew hits the ring. They beat the hell out of Tony. They hit him with chair shots. Spears gives him the C4 off the middle rope onto a chair. And this show goes off the air with they did a big angle and there's a new heel faction in NXT with apparently another one coming on Saturday.
Yep.
But I'm watching this and I thought, your new top heel faction is Shawn Spears, who has never meant a thing in NXT. The Virgin, their driver, and Izzy Dame.
Yeah.
That's your new top heel faction? Hey, listen, I'll give it a chance. I'm a nice guy, I like the show.
Yeah.
But I saw that faction, and I was like, good luck, Sean.
All I know is it turns out Izzy and Spears, I guess, were stalking each other. I do not feel like going back.
It was a work the entire time.
To see if it makes more sense knowing they were in
Yes,
cahoots the entire
they
time.
were in
Maybe
cahoots the entire time.
So we have a really cool, actually, History of Vengeance Day video that shows all the former NXT stars like Finn Balor and Braun Breaker and LA Knight. Makes this show seem important because these Vengeance Day stars are going to be main roster stars someday. And then we saw the mystery, scary image and the 4 dudes, and that was that.
I will say that there is a charm to NXT that just, I can't shake it, where even on a show like this where stuff fucking drives me nuts, it makes me mad, I think it's stupid, the show's over and I'm still excited for next week's show. Not for the card Saturday. They fucked that up, but I'm still a diehard NXT guy to the core.
You're the one.
I may be. Actually, apparently not.
Well, actually,
the
their
show's
ratings
doing fucking great
they
numbers.
are on fire, yes.
Yes, it is. Because it's this show on the CW. It could not possibly do this good on any other network. This is a show built for the CW. I think that's the only channel Sean has.
Shawn Michaels?
Yeah.
That's entirely possible.
I think he's just been watching the CW with his kids and his wife and for years, and it's this is what he knows. Anyway, we're out of time. We got to wrap it up. Back on Sunday, me and Vinny and Craig and Lance reviewing the NXT PLE as well as Collision. So check it out. I'll be back for Fun Friday tomorrow. And that's it. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Adios.